Hello, and welcome to AccrediTalk, where I give you a bite-sized nugget from an accreditation standard that just might apply to your healthcare organization. My name is Tom Goddard. I'm the founder and chief executive officer of Integral Healthcare Solutions, your destination for all your healthcare accreditation consulting needs. The accreditation standard I'll cover today is from URAC's Specialty Pharmacy and Mail Service Pharmacy Accreditation Programs, version 4.0. The particular standard I'll cover in this video is OPIN 1-1, which covers the requirement for a code of ethical business conduct. So under this standard, URAC requires that you implement a code of conduct for your organization. First of all, it's got to be adopted by your senior leadership. And so you've got to have documentation of that. It's got to outline 4 basic areas. First of all, it's got to make clear to your employees what the organization's ethical principles are. More specifically, the document needs to identify which behaviors and business practices are both expected and those which are prohibited. Third, it's got to describe in clear enough detail for anyone to follow how you handle whistleblower situations. And there's a whole separate standard on whistleblower situations, but this standard incorporates that requirement into your code of conduct. And then finally, your code needs to outline for your staff what the consequences of failing to meet expectations or violating some of the prohibitions are likely to be. URAC goes even further with this standard and requires that you specifically address 4 topics in your code of prohibited conduct, First of all, you've got to describe what a conflict of interest is and what's prohibited. You've got to address false claims. You've got to address fraud, waste, and abuse. And finally, you've got to address in your code other illegal behavior. What kind of documentation do you need to give to URAC? Well, you've got to have a documentation of the code itself. You've got to document the training of the code and how you get that code to your employees. So a single document is probably the best way to go that describes all of the components of the code of conduct. Breaking it up into smaller pieces probably is not as good an approach here. You've got to make sure that your committee meeting minutes of your senior leadership illustrate that this, or some other documentation in replacement of minutes, demonstrates that your senior leadership has approved this document. Now, one last tip. Don't rely exclusively on your new hire orientation to meet the requirement that you educate your team on the code of conduct. URAC doesn't explicitly describe what its expectations are about periodic training. We recommend that you do it at least annually, just to be safe and to meet the intent of the standard. So thank you for joining me on this episode of AccrediTalk. For my full interpretive guide for this standard, click the link below this video on the YouTube channel. And in addition to that, if you want to talk with me personally about how Integral Healthcare Solutions might be able to help your organization get accredited, please click the scheduling link below, grab a time on my calendar that works for you, and we'll talk. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.